tonight is not only is Liz Rogers my very best and dear friend, but when I first saw her presentation, it blew me away. And I am so excited that we can bring that to you this evening. I think you're going to see this family disease in maybe a little different way. So tonight, I want to tell you about my dear friend, Liz Rogers. Liz has been in education for over 50 years. Yes. A teacher, a principal, and now professor. And she's teaching at a Christian college. And the name of the course?
Hebrews.
So she knows all about that. And she has carried the AA message literally all the way around the world. That's pretty impressive. Absolutely. She's been to places I can't even begin to pronounce, but she has been to Siberia. She has been to what then was called Russia.
Soviet Union. And she has been involved with the Came to Believe retreats, 30, 35 years that I know of. And she is an integral, important part of our retreat. She always brings a great deal. So I'm going to introduce her tonight, but not only tonight, I want you to avail of yourself the opportunity to get to know this woman. She is not only from the heart a dear friend, but she knows a great deal about recovery. She lives it, she practices it, and she's great. I love her. So I would like to introduce to you tonight Dr. Liz Rogers. I love her too. Well, she's right. My name is Liz Rogers, and I too am a recovered alcoholic. And I've come here tonight to tell you what your problem is. Didn't expect that, did you? But there are 12 steps to your problem. And I'm here to tell you what it is. Step 1. We feel isolated and afraid of authority figures. Step 2. We become people pleasers or approval seekers, losing our identities in the process. Step 3, we are frightened people, we're angry people, and threatened by personal criticism. And step 4, we are proud to become alcoholics ourselves or marry them. Or we find another compulsive personality to fulfill our sick need of abandonment. Ooh, I'll talk about that later. Step 5, we live life from the standpoint of helping and seeking victims. Oh, we love victims. We're victims ourselves, and we look for other people to be so we can help them. And so we love that word victim, and we're attracted by victims in our love and relationships. Step 6, we have an overly developed sense of responsibility. Prefer to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us to avoid looking closely at ourselves and our own faults. And step 7, we get guilt feelings if we stand up for ourselves. Instead, we give in to others. We are unable to say no. We become reactors rather than actors, letting others take the initiative. And 9, we are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment. we will do almost anything in order not to feel the pain of abandonment. Now, as adults, we keep choosing insecure relationships because they match our childhood relationships with our parents or guardians. I like this one. Step 10. We confuse love with almost anything. We confuse love with pity. We confuse love with good feelings. We confuse love with sex. We confuse love with good manners. We confuse love with huggy-kissy. We love those that we can pity or rescue. And step 11, we learn to stuff down our feelings in childhood, and we've lost the ability to feel or express our own feelings. We're numb. And step 12, we judge ourselves harshly and have a low sense of self-esteem. And we sometimes compensate by trying to act superior. And so this evening, I've come to introduce to you alcoholism in a family. Now, I travel with this family, and I've been traveling with them for 30 some odd years. And they desperately need help. I'm hoping that Michael or Steve or Jack over here, my buddy Jack, can do something with Wino Willie tonight. And so we'll see what happens. But we find that alcoholism is a family disease. And it is a disease. It's a real disease. I've finally come to recognize that fact. And we're alcoholics ourselves, or we are para-alcoholics, those who take on the characteristics of the disease without ever having necessarily taken a drink. Now, to me, that's crazy. My name is Liz, and I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I can't imagine someone acting as nutty as I used to without having ever taken a drink. But that's what it says here. We become addicted to excitement in all our affairs, preferring constant upset to workable relationships. And so this evening I introduce to you this family I've been traveling with all over the globe, all over the planet. And this is, here you go over here, this is Wino Willie. And you can see he brought his bottle with him. He's still happy. He has a smile on his face. You know, I think I see a drunk over there, too. Yes, right here in a green shirt. And yeah, but he's smiling. And so, but I have to keep looking at him because drunks are very dangerous. You have to keep a tab on them because they'll change just like that. He's still smiling, however, and that's okay. Now, Willie is addicted to alcohol. He is an addict, and living with an addict is very dangerous, very dangerous. As a matter of fact, it's like, well, let's say you have a teenage son, and for some ungodly reason, he has a pet snake in a cage, and he feeds live mice to it. But let's just picture that. And one morning you come downstairs, and the cage is open, and the snake is gone, and you don't know where it is. And you keep looking at it, looking for it, all over, all day long. You go about your business, but the snake, where is that snake? Because if he comes out and bites you, too bad for you. You're a goner. So where is that snake? All day long. You walk on eggs because you never know what a snake will do. And let's say the next day you do the same thing. He's gone. Where is he? Has he died? Is he in a car accident? Is he drinking again? What is it? And the next day, total disaster in your emotions. And let's say you just keep that up day after day after day. What kind of life are you living? Walking on eggs. That's what you're doing. Well, that's what happens when you live with an addict. Tonight we're talking about alcohol, but any addict will upset a household just like this one. Now, as this illness progresses, so grows feelings of guilt, shame, remorse, and fear. But they must be hidden under outside behavior that denies the truth and convinces everyone that he is just fine. Now, I must tell you that everybody in an alcoholic household, whether they're alcoholics or not, they're the family, all of them, every one of them, is a terrific liar. And they all have two faces. You can see right now that Willie has his how are you doing? I'm a good guy face on. But as his bottle goes down and he runs out of alcohol, his face goes into withdrawal, and you never know what's going to happen now. I'm keeping looking over there. This drunk over here, he's still smiling, but we've got to keep checking him out. You never know. From 1 minute to the next, your life is just like that. So, another thing about all of these children is that they have an empty love bucket. Now, you know, when you're born with a capacity of being filled with love, hopefully God's love. But mom and dad are the first ones to hold the baby and talk to the baby and fill that baby with security and love. But this has not happened in any alcoholic household, usually. And it hasn't happened, it didn't happen with Willie. He's seeking love in all the wrong places right now with his bottle. And it hasn't happened with his wife, and we'll talk about the children later. Now, as Willie's disease progresses, each member of the family compulsively represses his or her feelings, and they learn to react with survival behavior. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is survival behavior. I imagine that you've had dealings with an alcoholic in your family, or you wouldn't be here. Maybe you're the alcoholic, or maybe you're the relative of one. But you know what it is to have repressing your feelings and worrying about what other people think. You know what that is. This behavior builds defensive walls. So you don't want to be hurt anymore. You don't want that drunk to break your heart anymore. So you put up a wall here, and you put up a wall here. And finally, you've got a brick wall around your heart. And nobody can get through. Nobody can know the real you. As a matter of fact, you don't even know the real you. That's what we're going to talk about this weekend. That's what the 12 steps is about. Setting you free. Setting you free so you know yourself. Know who you really are. You'll be surprised. It'll be a good surprise. But at any rate, we have built up defensive walls around ourselves, our emotions. And in this way, Willie exercises complete and total control over his family. The drunk exercises emotional control, financial, spiritual control. The climate of the entire family depends upon whether Willie is smiling or frowning. Depends upon the faces that he makes. So you have to keep looking at him. And he looks dangerous now. There's not a smile on this man's face. So you better back off here. Characteristics of an addict. They're arrogant. They're always right. Resentful. Belligerent. Hostile. But go right outside the house and charming. Yeah. Charming in the grocery store. Charming in the bank. Charming outside the home. All right, now let's talk about his wife. Poor guy. Poor woman. Is she an addict too? Well, she's not drinking alcohol, but he set her nerves so badly that she went to the doctor. She's been to the doctor many times, and every time she goes, he gives her a prescription. And what does she have? She has, well, they call it medicine, but I think they're drugs too. She also is taking the pills, and to calm her nerves down, you know. Her name is Wilhelmina, and she's always in distress. I don't believe that Wilhelmina has said one positive thing in many, many months, maybe years, because she is so worried about Willie. She is, now I don't want to get you wives all upset here, but Wilhelmina is the chief enabler of the person who is the closest and most dependent on the addict. She's the closest to Willie. She's the most dependent on him. He's still making money now. He hadn't been fired yet. So he's making money, and she's dependent on him. And she's worried sick. Not only that he stops making money, what will happen? They have 4 children. They have to pay their bills. And he's whittling it away in the bars, drinking it away. And so she's totally involved in the mood swing of this man. And she's at him all the time. Willie, think of your family. He thinks of it. Willie, think of the boss. Think of the neighbors. Willie, think of the bills. And he's thinking, and he takes another drink. And so she's always at him. Always at him. She doesn't know the secret. BJ knows the secret. She's going to be telling you the secret this weekend. But she knows the secret of how to get Willie maybe off the bottle. Wilhelmina ain't doing it. She's doing totally the wrong thing. But she doesn't know it. And so we have to have pity on her, to have mercy on her. But because expressing honest anger, which she does all the time, is dangerous in an abusive, alcoholic marriage. Wilhelmina she's used a silent treatment. She's used sarcasm. She's used blame. She's knocked him around a couple of times, and he knocked her back. As you can see, she's lost some of her teeth here in this endeavor. She now is using passive-aggressive behavior. That's very, very confusing to anybody. So, but that's what she's doing right now. She's been doing this for a long time. It has, over a period of years, warped her own personality. Her own personality now is not the sweet Wilhelmina that he married in the first place, but a bitter, carping, miserable woman right now that's always on pills, half out of her head, and crying all the time. And what will our children think? Well, our children are kids, and they see Daddy drunk, but he sobers up, and he's a pretty good guy when he's sober. But Mom, they don't understand Mom. She's always goofy. She's always crying. She's always in bed with a headache. They don't understand Mom at all. Mom doesn't drink, so what's wrong with her? That's what kids will think of Mom. All right, let's go to the characteristics of a codependent woman. Now, that's the word to use with Wilhelmina. She is codependent. And what is she? She's super responsible. And she's a martyr. She's a martyr. She doesn't know what she's done to deserve all this misery. She has many illnesses. She has many prescription drugs. And she's just emotionally drained and exhausted all the time. No focus. She's hopeless, very serious, self-pity, whining, complaining, terrible. A terrible personality from living with an alcoholic or living with an addict. And, whoa, how do you get out of that stuff? Well, fortunately, you're here to learn how to do it. Well, now, I don't know how this happens, but Wino, Willie, and Wilhelmina got together, and they have 4 children. Now, these 4 children show the survival behavior of 4 different personality groups. If you took Psychology 101 in high school, you know these groups. First of all, there's the choleric, and he's Mr. Businessman. He's the leader, and he's serious about almost everything. Then there's the melancholy. They love art. They love singing. They cry a lot. They're very melancholy, and that's a melancholy person. Sanguine. All right, you're looking at a sanguine. I'm a sanguine. I like people. I like to be in groups. I like to talk a lot and see what you have to say, and I have something to say back to you. I've got my shoes at the door. I'm ready to go. Maybe I'll clean the house later. That's, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner, but I'm going to go out and have some fun. Sanguine. And then there's Mr. Phlegmatic. Well, he's in the chair. He's got the remote. He's changing channels. Don't disturb him. I'm watching television. I don't want to go out to eat tonight. He's probably has a job somewhere at a desk in a corner somewhere. He doesn't have to fool with these stupid people all the time. So this is Mr. Phlegmatic. And then we have other ones. So I will get to those later. But let's see what 4 children, let's see what they have to say and what they're doing. Now the firstborn child, his name is Daryl. And Daryl is an acronym. Drugs and alcohol really ruin young lives, Daryl. And they do. And they do. Now, Daryl hasn't taken drugs or alcohol right now. But let me tell you about this wonderful little boy called Daryl. Psychologists call him, he's a cleric. And psychologists call him the responsible one. He is the family hero. Now, as a hero, he measures himself totally by self-worth, almost exclusively by what he does. He identifies himself by his career. That's who he is. when he retires, he's going to have a terrible time because he doesn't really know who he is. That's just one aspect of his personality is his job, but he's a doer and he's not a dreamer. He manifests a strong desire to be on top. He's the class leader. And he substitutes as the parents, and he bosses his peers around. He is the teacher's pet. The teachers love Daryl. Love Daryl. I'm a Daryl also. And the teachers always loved me. I sat on the front row with my hand up. I know the answer. I'm smart. Look at me. I have the answer. That's Daryl. It doesn't show, but now these kids are overly in need of attention and approval from others because they're not good at reinforcing themselves. They look like it, they act like it, but you go a little bit down in their heart and you'll find much insecurity and doubt. When Daryl was born, he was such a sweet boy. And Mommy should have held him. Mommy should have patted him. Mommy should have talked to him. Daryl, you're such a good-looking boy. Mommy loves you so much. I'm so proud of you, Daryl. So proud of you. Yeah, come on, let's have fun together. Let's go here and let's go there. And we maintain a relationship with our children with love. But in this family, Mama and Daddy are doing what I call the game. Everything in this family has to do with the game. What is the game? Well, it's a dumb game. I mean, it is so stupid that you wonder why they play it all the time, because nobody's won. But they love playing that game. What's the game? Well, Daddy drinks as much as he can without letting Wilhelmina know. And Wilhelmina tries to find out, tries to find the bottles and throw them out and keep Willie from drinking. That's the game. And you say, that is really stupid. Well, it is, but they've been playing it for years. The same thing. Every day. The same game. Wouldn't you think that if nobody won, they'd say, maybe there's something wrong with this game. But no, they haven't said that yet. And so Daryl, he picks up on the game. As a matter of fact, all the rest of the children, they pick up on the game. And all of them are, number one, trying to get Daddy to stop drinking, all except one. I'll tell you about Bubba later. And trying to calm Mama down and not let her yell so much. So all the children are hot to trot with this game. It's called the alcohol game. And nobody wins. Daryl also has decided that he's a smart boy. He makes A's in school. As a matter of fact, he went to college and got a degree. As you can see, he's got his gown on, and so he's a very smart little boy. And he's going to fix Mama and Daddy. He's going to fix them. He is going to try to fix the unfixable and cure the incurable. He's not going to be able to do it, but he didn't know that. So he has decided in his mind that if he just keeps himself as perfect as he can, he cleans his room, he becomes a clean freak. And he's very, very neat and orderly. And he makes the best grades in school. Everything he does must be perfect. And so he is a perfectionist, which is too bad, because there is no such thing as perfection. And therefore, he fails all the time. Perfectionists, did you know, are a failure because they can't forgive themselves and they can't stand for anything to be imperfect in their sight. Anyway, Daryl's got a girlfriend. Let's meet the girlfriend. Now, this girlfriend, he met her at the Miss America contest. She was Miss Kansas, and you can see that she's a very beautiful girlfriend. She has all the attraction. She's got long blonde hair, and she's very, very thin. And well, let's talk to her. Her name is Tiffany. So, okay, Tiffany. Oh, Tiffany, look at that, what you have. She has a ring on her right hand. Tell me about this ring here, over here. And she says, well, it's a friendship ring. And Daryl gave it to me. Oh, well, that's very nice. Well, tell me, Tiffany, what do you and Daryl talk about? When you talk, that is. And, oh, her crown, she got her crown cleaned just recently. She got a manicure. We talk about that. Did you get a pedicure? No. Anyway, they have great conversations when they talk. And how long had you and Daryl been going together? 2.5 months. That's wonderful. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. She's got 2 weeks to go. He always dumps a girl after 3 months. And he's got one in the wings, though, waiting. Daryl has a revolving door with girlfriends because he's never going to be stuck like this family is. He's never, ever going to have a husband and wife relationship. He sees where that goes. No, you're not going to tie him down in a real marriage. So, all right, Daryl now is very, very successful. He makes a 6-figure salary, has a penthouse, drives a great car, has great clothes, and is soon to get a new girlfriend. And so he's over here in his penthouse. So let's look at the second-born child, who happens to be the crowd favorite. This is Bubba. This is Bubba. And Bubba is the rebel. And he also brought his bear with him, and he has a spare. So there. Let's put your beer down here, and let's see what the psychiatrists say about Bubba. Bubba is called the rebel. He's called the scapegoat. He is a second-born child, and he's often a rebel. He's adversarial. He says, "You can't make me do that." He sneers. He smirks, but the word is cool. He's cool, and as long as he's cool, he thinks he's okay. The second-born child often has to carve out his own place in the family. And he takes a rebellious attitude by doing it. If you say up, he'll say down. If you'll say out, he'll say in. Whatever you say, he'll take the opposite view because he's adversarial. He will never agree with you. Never. He has neglected his schoolwork. He plays hooky. He talks back. He fails his subjects in school. He has delinquent behavior. He will become a drug addict. Oh, he has much promiscuous sex. And he's always in trouble. Even though his behavior is negative, it takes the heat off of Willie. So now Mama and Willie briefly get together and say, what are we going to do about Bubba? And so they get together. They don't know what to do about him. They don't know what to do about themselves. But now they think they know what to do about Bubba. So Bubba comes home with some glasses, and Daddy says, take those stupid glasses off. And he comes home with long hair when short hair was in. And Daddy said, get a haircut. Bubba says, Daddy noticed who I was. He called my name. He actually talked to me. Daddy talked to me today. Yeah, he yelled at me, but at least he knows me. He knows who I am. Even though his behavior is negative, it takes the heat off of Willie, I said that, and turns the spotlight on the rebel. The rebel. Now, Bubba's problems temporarily disrupt the fighting between the parents and brings them together to try to work out what's wrong with Bubba. Bubba assumes that nobody loves him. Well, he was a second-born child, and he was a boy. They already had a boy, so what's new? And so Bubba didn't get much loving, much petting, much reinforcing, much talking, hardly any compliments, always yelling at Bubba. And so Bubba says, the heck with this. So he joins a bunch of guys that pay attention to him. These guys are called a gang. And Bubba starts to get into deep trouble. Deep trouble. He gets into trouble drinking, he gets into trouble fighting, and he's a trouble boy. He brings home some jewelry, and Daddy says, all right, Nancy, who do you think you are? But look at Bubba's jewelry. It's a peace sign. And Bubba has a heart on his necklace. Because deep down, Bubba also has an empty love bucket. What does he need? It's like everybody. Everybody in this room, including me and everybody else on planet Earth, needs love. But they don't need the kind of love we throw around in our talk. They need agape love. They need agape love. You know, in the Bible, there are 3 words for love, and Americans only use one word, love. And we kind of confuse it with huggy-kissy. Oh, yes, I'll see you, Phyllis. Oh, yeah, it's so good to see you. And I hug her and I kiss her. I've never seen this woman before. But somehow or another, she's going to get a little something from me when I hug her. Of course, I'm going to like her later on. But right now, I'm making a point that we really are not sincere in what we say or do, are we? And neither is Bubba, because nobody else is anyway. We need agape love. We need that agape love. And that's God's unconditional love, who loves me no matter how dirty I got, no matter what sin I had. And I had a lot before I came into this program, and I'm still getting it every now and then. I have to repent of it. But we need an unconditional love from our wonderful Creator. Anyway, Bubba isn't getting that, and he's the rebel, and so he's going to sit over here. But good news, he's come of age, and now he can drink with Daddy. That really isn't good news. Because, why isn't it good news? because alcoholism is an incurable, deadly disease. That's why it's not good news. And they're both dying slowly and having fun doing it. So we'll leave Bubba and go to the third-born son. Yeah, it's a boy, another boy. But this little boy, I don't know if I have favorites or not. But if I did, it would be Jolly Jerry. It would be little Jolly Jerry. Jolly Jerry, when he was born, you should have seen him in his crib. He was the cutest baby. He was just lying there, and he was smiling, and he just, you wanted to pick him up and just kiss him all over his little face, and he was so cute, and you'd say, "Oh, Jerry, I just love you. You're so sweet. You're so cute. Mama loves you so much." And you know, Wilhelmina did do that for a while. But then she got back into the game and forgot all about Jolly Jerry. Jolly Jerry didn't forget about her, though. "Mama, Mama, watch me, watch me." And he'd jump up and down on his bed, and she'd say, "Yeah, Jerry, okay." And he'd say, "Mama, Mama, watch this." And he'd turn a somersault. She'd say, "Oh, you're so cute, Jerry." At the swimming pool, "Mama, Mama, watch me jump off the high diving board." "Okay, Jerry, I see you, that's good." And so really, Wilhelmina has, excuse me, has paid more attention to Jerry than she did any of the other children, but that really wasn't much attention either. So little Jerry is inside in his heart. I don't know if there's anybody old enough to remember a World War II song. He's laughing on the outside, but he's crying on the inside, because he hasn't got any love. Some children are overly needy of love. Some children are overly needed about attention. I don't think I was, but Jerry was, and I know some other kids that just want to know that Mama and Daddy love them and are behind them. And Jerry's just one of them. He has adopted a defense of jokes. And so he started making jokes when he was just a little boy in kindergarten. He'd come home with a kindergarten joke. And he'd laugh and make Mama laugh and whoever else. And then as he matured, he started just talking to other people and just making jokes about different things. Didn't really know how to converse, but made jokes. And then as he grew older and grew more bitter, he started doing needle teasing. And that is needling someone for their defect or whatever their weakness is. Needle, needle, needle. And so he becomes a needler. Where's Jerry right now? Well, he's not married. He's afraid of girls, and girls don't like him anyway. So he's living with Mama. He still lives at home with Mama. He's made an apartment in the basement, and that's where he lives. So he is right there next to Mama. So she's had 3 boys. Now her 4th child, would you believe it? Could you possibly believe that they have a girl? They have a little girl, and this little girl is called Little Sissy. And Little Sissy is the sweetest little girl you'd ever. She's a good little girl. She's not hard to be around at all. She doesn't yell. She doesn't scream. She doesn't make waves. She's just a precious little child. Let's see what the psychiatrists say about Little Sissy. Psychiatrists call little Sissy the lost child. And why is she lost? Is because, well, when she goes to school, teachers don't even remember her name. She kind of fades into the background. She doesn't make herself important at all. And she doesn't talk much. She uses her shoulders. Sissy, how are you today? I don't know. What do you think about so-and-so? I don't know. So when you talk to her, she just shrugs her shoulders and doesn't say much. And finally people get bored and walk away. She fades into the background. She has few, if any, friends. She doesn't bring them home. None of the kids bring their kids home. They don't want them to see Dad or Mama. It's too embarrassing. Now she works and she plays alone. She's timid. She's a follower. Doesn't cause any trouble whatsoever. She stays safe in her room. When things get hot and heavy with the boys, she goes back up to her room, she closes the door, and she plays her game. Now, her game isn't the game. She's got a game that someday, her prince will come. Someday he will. Someday her prince will come and take her out of this horrible situation, this terrible life that she has to live. He's going to come. Someday my prince will come. And here he is in her imagination. Oh, he's a handsome man. And he's waiting for her with open arms. And he's a prince. And he's every wonderful thing that a little girl could dream about. And someday, our prince will come. Ladies, haven't you ever thought that? Just the right man. Just the right prince. Oh, and someday take me out of this terrible misery that I'm living in, and I will live happily, happily, happily ever after. Well, she loves this game, and she really believes that someday her prince will come. So she plays this game over and over and over. Someday, folks, she's going to have a beautiful dress like this. Just a beautiful dress. And she's going to be so happy. Get your hands up. She's going to be so happy because she's going to walk down the aisle to meet her dream man. And he's going to be waiting for her. And he is going to, anxiously wait for her. And she's going to dum, dum, da-dum, dum, dum, da-dum. Do you, Barbie? Yes. Do you, Ken? Yes. Well, that's, she likes the kisses. And, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Ken. Da, 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 da. She loves that game. Someday she's going to have that dress. She's going to walk down the aisle, and she and her dream man are going to be happy ever after. Well, she went to school. She's in junior high school. And one day she went to school, and she's walking home from school, and little Billy Jones says, "Sissy, can I carry your books?" He's come, my dream man has come. His name is Billy Jones. Oh, she's so excited about it. And she says, yes. So she's got a boyfriend now. And he's walking her home from school. And she goes back to her room upstairs, and she gets out a pencil and paper, and she starts dreaming. Mr. and Mrs. Billy Jones. Sissy Jones. Sissy and Billy Jones. Oh, she dreams and she dreams. And they're walking each other, hand in hand after school. Now, one day, they're walking home from school. And Billy Jones turns to Sissy and he said, Sissy? Yes? He says, I need you. All right. I'm going to stop right here because I'm a teacher. BJ introduced me. And taught school 50 years. Teachers give quizzes. I'm going to give you a quiz. Now, if you know the answer to this quiz, raise your hand. If you don't know it, just shut up. Strict teacher here. All right, here's the quiz. One question. What do 16-year-old boys think about all the time? Look at that. Oh, our drunk over here.
I remember.
What do 16-year-old boys think about all the time?
Naked girls.
In one word, three-letter word, sex. That's right.
White turn to red.
That's right. Sex. Well, unfortunately, Billy Jones' father was transferred to another city. But he's left behind little Sissy and her baby. Because Sissy is 16 years old, and Sissy's going to have a baby. She's going to have a baby by little Billy Jones. And what this world does not need any more of are baby mothers.
Yeah.
What's in Sissy's mind? She's a nice little girl. She's a sweet little girl. But she lives in a fantasy world. She doesn't live in a real world. She hasn't been taught real things. She just dreams of movies and TVs and wearing a white dress. And she knows absolutely nothing about rearing children. Nothing. But in her own little immature way, she said, I'm so happy I'm going to have a baby because that baby's going to be my best friend and we're going to grow up together and she's going to love me forever and ever. Her baby is. All right. Let's talk about Sissy's baby. Sissy's baby. Now this is a future baby. Let's just think about Sissy's baby, which hasn't been born yet. Let's just think about this little girl. What's going to happen to her? This little girl will grow up. She's not going to stay baby all the time. She's not going to say play doll all the time. And she will be a teenager one of these days. And she will want to know who her daddy is and what happened. But Sissy doesn't know any of that. So let's go over here and think about what's going to happen to Sissy's baby. Do you think that Jolly Jerry could take care of Sissy's baby? Yes or no? No. Do you think that grandmother is interested in Sissy's baby? No. Yes or no? No. Do you think that Wino Willie cares anything at all about Sissy's baby? No, he's drunk most of the time now. Alcoholism's a progressive disease. And what about Bubba? You wouldn't even let Bubba babysit. Sissy's baby. And let's go over here to Mr. Sophisticated man who has a girlfriend every 3 months. You think any of these girlfriends, any of these trophy wives, are Daryl himself is interested in taking care of this baby? No. So there you go. There you go. All right, so Sissy keeps her baby. And that baby's going to be reared by a totally nice girl, but a totally immature person and knows absolutely nothing about child rearing. This is a family. This is an alcoholic family. This is somewhat what happens to it. I've had people come up after this talk and say, I had there were 4 of us in the family. I was the girl, and the other 3 boys were my brothers. And they acted exactly like this. Well, you're going to identify with one or more of these children. And April, are we going into groups now? Groups? So in the groups, I would like for each person in the group would perhaps say how you identify, which one of the personalities you can identify with. But there are 12 steps to recovery. So I want to give you the 12 steps of alcoholic recovery. Step number 1, we have the right to choose a life beyond mere survival. God said, I have come that you might have a full, free, abundant life. Life is meant to be enjoyed. We have a right to enjoy our lives. Step number 2, we have a right to say no to anyone or anything at any time. God has made us free moral agents. I set before you. God says this. Pay attention to this because this is for you. I set before you tonight life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore, I recommend highly that you choose life, that both you and your children will live. That's Deuteronomy 30. We choose courage in life instead of fear and death. Step number 3, we have the right to refuse or take blame where we're blameless. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Step 4, we have the right to make mistakes. But we have the responsibility of taking the consequences. God says, though you fall, utterly fall, you will not be cast down, because the Lord will uphold you with his hand. Now, step number 5, we have the right to cry when we feel like it. We have the right to all of our feelings, but we have the responsibility of how we express them. God says to show respect to all people, because love never fails. Step number 6, we have the right to terminate conversations with people who put us down or humiliate us. We have the right to refuse needle teasing. We have the right to walk away. We have the right to hang up the phone. Resist the devil and he will flee. Number 7, we have the right to be, this is a good one. Pay attention. We have the right to be healthier than those around us. Now we're going to be talking about the physical body. You are not your own. You have been bought with a price. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So you honor God with your body. Step number 8, we have the right to be relaxed, playful, and frivolous, because the joy of the Lord is our strength. Number 9, we have the right to change Hopefully we change and grow. We grow from strength to strength, and we grow from faith to faith. Number 10, we have the right to set limits and refuse unhealthy patterns of abuse and conversation. Set those limits. Refuse evil and choose good. And step 11, we have the right to be angry. And we have the right to be angry at someone we love. But understand that retaining that anger is unhealthy. Be angry, but sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. In other words, make it up that day. Make up quickly. And 12. We have the right to take care of ourselves no matter what relationship we're in, because the Spirit in us is the Spirit of peace. So God grant us the serenity, come on, join me, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you.